Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Mervis, and if you are new to my channel, you are highly welcome. Just so you know, I upload videos based on true crime stories or just anything tragic. Today's story is quite devastating. It's a story that began a couple of months as a mere kidnapped case, and within 2 months it developed into nothing short of a horror movie straight out of Nollywood. Stay tuned with me as we deep dive into the series of events that tragically claimed the life of Celine and her friend Afiba Tando. Earlier, before April 27, 2024, Celine had met an old-time Facebook friend by the name Mr. Andrew Amechi. Now, who was this Andrew Amechi? Let us have a little bit of background information about this Mr. Andrew. He was born a British Nigerian and he was based in the UK. It is said that he had a relatively normal childhood, and in 2014 he opened his first company, the E-Tech. This company was even recognized. It flourished so well that it was recognized by the British government as one of the few individuals that has helped to create jobs for local students in the community. As his business grew and expanded, so was his life of crime, and he was soon in the radar of the law. The Thames Valley Police actually issued a warrant of arrest for Mr. Andrew Amechi after it was alleged that he sexually assaulted a woman. And when they wanted to dig deep into his case files, it was noticed that Mr. Andrew went by multiple identity. This gave him ample time to liquidate his company, declare bankruptcy, try to transfer his money to some sort of black market back to Nigeria, and he actually flew back to Nigeria. And to this day, the happening of this event, he was still a wanted man in the UK because he was a very rich man in UK. He had all the money to buy an estate for himself in Aba, where he resided. He even had a company in his house, in his compound, named the Black Sheep Company, but nobody knew what he bought and sell in his company. He would flaunt his estate, his flip of cars, his jewelries, his mansions on his Facebook page, and he will use that as a means to lure girls into his estate. So Celine was one of these girls that was invited by Mr. Andrew, and on the 27th of April 2024, Celine invited her friend Afiba, a Ghanaian. They had studied together and reconnected years later. Afiba actually traveled from Dubai to her country, Ghana, and flew into Nigeria to meet with Celine, her friend. It is said that the pair had to attend a wedding, but the wedding was cancelled last minute, and they just needed to hang out and do some stuff before Celine could travel back to Ghana or back to where she was coming from. So in this regard, Celine convinced Afiba that there was a rich man that actually invited them over to Aba to come spend the weekend. It is said that they were going to come on Saturday and leave by Monday. It is obvious that Mr. Andrew needed these two girls strictly for business. It is commonly called, like I said, in Nigeria, hookup. So he bargained the price before arrival. He requested, according to WhatsApp screenshots from Celine's phone, Mr. Andrew asked how much they were willing to charge for the weekend, and Celine replied by saying Mr. Andrew should give them 1 million for both of them, and he a little bit bargained, and it is unclear. According to the screenshot that is out there, they went back and forth and finally agreed to an amount that was not actually 1 million, but that was what Celine requested, and Mr. Andrew ended up sending the sum of 100,000 for them to use as transport from Port Harcourt down to Aba. This is to show how trickish and cunning the man was. He didn't send them just too much money to make them use the money and then not come, and he really didn't send little to discourage them not to come. So it was just enough. Video evidence proved that Celine and Afiba said goodbye to their friend and then left for Aba. Unfortunately, that will be the last time the two girls will be seen alive. Mr. Andrew was very conscious in inviting these girls. He never wanted the girls to disclose where they were actually going to, the real address. So he never gave the address of his estate to the girls. He gave them an address of a hotel in Aba that they were going to. Like the taxi or the Uber they got was going to drop them in a hotel in Aba, and he was going to come get them from there. So CCTV footage showed Mr. Andrew in the hotel picking up the girls to his mansion estate in Aba. Girls got to Mr. Andrew's house. Afiba was quick to notice that all was not well. She actually found traces of stuff that had been left behind by other ladies, and she quickly texted her friends. It is clear that things were not going as planned, and she quickly texted one of her friends back in Port Harcourt that they have been kidnapped. That the friend, she used the location, the GPS, that her phone location to track her, because she doesn't really even know where they are, but from every indication they are. And the last text she texted was, "He is coming." So this was the last message from Afiba's phone to her friend, and nobody have ever heard anything from both girls. Her friend in Port Harcourt took these messages to the police station and reported. So a complaint was filed in the Aba police station, but nothing was done. This is where the case starts getting all the twists and turns and becoming so interesting, and you will see how the rich people actually, some of them will say they do own the police. It is actually in most cases true, because the time the family of Afiba and Celine didn't have was the time the police was wasting. Days turned to weeks and to a month. Nothing tangible was done, and out of frustration the families had to go to social media. Bloggers picked up the case and were posting left and right, until a human rights activist, Mr. Harrison in Lagos, equally realized how trending the case was online and decided to go down to Aba and find out why people are talking so much and the police are not giving up any information concerning the case, and it's like they don't care. So when Mr. Harrison went down to Aba, according to the anti-kidnapping unit down there, they had gone to own the police. It is actually in most cases true, because the time the family of Afiba and Celine didn't have was the time the police was wasting. Days turned to weeks and to a month. Nothing tangible was done, and out of frustration the families had to go to social media. Bloggers picked up the case and were posting left and right, until a human rights activist, Mr. Harrison in Lagos, equally realized how trending the case was online and decided to go down to Aba and find out why people are talking so much and the police are not giving up any information concerning the case, and it's like they don't care. So when Mr. Harrison went down to Aba, according to the anti-kidnapping unit down there, they had gone to Mr. Andrew's house and nothing turned up. But of course nobody was buying this story, so they had a warrant, went back to Mr. Andrew's house, and after a long struggle begging him, he had to let people into his house. And that was when Celine's phone, her handbag, and some other personal stuffs were discovered in Mr. Andrew's house. At that point the police knew that there was nothing they could do. They had to arrest him. But it is equally good to be noted that he was never arrested as a criminal, because he took his phone to the police station. He was connected and he was living like a king on vacation instead of a criminal that invited two girls over to his house, and he was the last person that saw the two girls, and they were nowhere to be found. He wasn't ready to say anything. He was there living his life, chatting and sending videos to his friends. And the most painful part of this story is the fact that most of his friends knew what he was up to. They knew he had this psychopathic behavior in him, that he derives pleasure in seeing women suffer during sexual intercourse. According to his friend, he said he couldn't go to the police when he was forwarding him these videos of different girls. He even the video of Celine and Afiba. He got the video before he was even arrested. He sent that to some of his friends. But according to the man, he came live on Facebook and said he doesn't trust Nigerian police. The man was well connected. He knew top politicians. He had the police in his palms. So if he had gone to the police station, they would have just unalive him. So there was nothing he could do. That was how he managed to clear the air, because people were like, arrest him, he's an accomplice. Back to the story. So when Mr. Andrew was taken to the police station, the police were not really doing much to help the family. They were not giving any answers. Like, nothing was happening. We are talking, that was in April, May, that towards the end of May, nothing. And that was the precious time the family of both girls never had. So out of frustration, the family of Afiba in Ghana had to go to the Ghanaian High Commissioner in Nigeria to equally request for help, and the human rights activists advised both families to write a petition, and both of the families should sign, take it to the police headquarters in Abuja, so that the case can be transferred from Aba, where Mr. Andrew is so familiar, and it's like the police in quotes are his friends over there. So they had to find a way to move Mr. Andrew out of Aba to the police headquarters in Abuja, so they could try and figure, so he could say something, because for 2 weeks in police custody, he was driven to the police station in his luxurious Mercedes Benz. It was parked out of the police station, and he was there in the police cell with his phone connected to Wi-Fi or data, and he had so much comfort that he didn't see any reason relaying any information that could help rescue the girl, or even if he had done away with them, he had nothing to tell the police. So when the Ghanaian High Commissioner mount pressure on the police headquarters in Abuja, they requested that the case should be transferred to Abuja. This is another part where it keeps getting interesting. When a squad was sent down to Aba to go get Mr. Andrew to be transferred to Abuja, the police station, that is actually a very small unit that is answerable to the boss over in Aba High Commissioner, they said they can't transfer the case. The case they have open case file, they are doing investigation, and they will crack the case. And it was like, no, transfer. So after so much back and forth, they reluctantly handed the case file, the evidence, and all what they found in Mr. Andrew's house. Andrew was put in his he was loaded in his Mercedes together with his laptops, his phone, Celine's handbag, Celine's phone, that was discovered that the same account that transferred 100,000 to Celine had withdrawn 1 million from Celine's account. So he took 10 times what he had sent the lady. So all of this evidence was packed in the boot of Mr. Andrew's car, the Mercedes, and the police, one police had to drive the car, the other one by the side. And somewhere along the line between Aba in Abia State to Abuja, Mr. Harrison was dead. He died under police custody. This is interesting. The only suspect that the police has gotten to crack open a case of, if not 2 girls, multiple girls, was shot and killed by the same police that had to make sure he stayed alive to confess to his crime or give clues and possibly give closure to the families of Afiba and Celine. This is the narration the police gave as to why Mr. Andrew, according to the police squad that was sent, on their way to Abuja, remember I said Mr. Andrew was being transported, even though there was a Toyota van. No, he wasn't transported like a criminal. He was transported like a king and a god. So he was put in his Mercedes Benz together with all the evidence and the clothes they got from his house, with his phone, the phone that Celine's phone, handbag, and interesting. So according to the police, on their way from Aba to Abuja, Mr. Andrew, the prince that was being transported, said his Mercedes suddenly stopped. It couldn't move again. And according to Mr. Andrew, the car needed face recognition and fingerprints because it has traveled so far away from his area. The police uncuffed him and asked him to come and do the necessary stuff. The latest Mercedes, of course, we know they have all of these features. So Mr. Andrew came, did his fingerprint, face recognition, and did some stuff, went to the booth, and the car started moving. After remember, this is what the police narrated. After 1 hour, the car stopped again. Yes, it has gone again further. It doesn't recognize this location. I need to do that again so that the car can start. So Mr. Andrew requested to come to the driver's seat. He sat there, he first of all opened the boot, did what he had to do there with all the evidence that were in his boot, in his Mercedes. He came to the front seat, driver's seat, sat there, did the magic he did before for the fingerprint and face recognition, and the car started again. So he asked one of the police officer that was standing by the driver's door to go close the boot while he comes out of the car for them to drive. So as soon as the police officer went to close the boot, he zoomed off. This is the police story. So the Mercedes was so advanced that it went like a speed of light. There was really no way. Their Toyota van was no match to the Mercedes. So Mr. Andrew succeeded to flee, and they had to call checkpoints ahead. So according to them, when Mr. Andrew he had run away for some kilometers and made a checkpoint in the process of taking a reverse so he could flee again. That was when the police rained bullets on him, killing him instantly. Hey, Africa. Yes, that is how Mr. Andrew ended up dead under the custody of the police. People are wondering why he was transported in his Mercedes. So if he had succeeded to zoom off, he would have gone away with the evidence, everything, and the suspect and the evidence would have disappeared. So many people believe that, so many theories are emerging out there that the police only used this story as a camouflage or to derail the public, because they had to do away with this guy, because according to some people he was so well connected. When this incident occurred, there is a lady that came to Facebook to recount her story. This is just to further proof that Mr. Andrew probably is responsible for the deaths of numerous girls that had disappeared in and out of the city of Aba in Abia State. According to this Miss Rachel, she had met the man on Tinder and he invited her over. So when she got there and realized that he was stupidly rich and had no wife, no kids, he thought they could maybe have a relationship. So the first day went well, but the second day he began seeing his true colors. She said that he pulled her by the hair up to his master's bedroom upstairs, assaulted her, and told her that he was going to kill her here, dismember her, just to throw the police off, because they no fingers to point at him, because they knew he is rich. Nobody was going to suspect that he is. They will know that it's a case for money rituals. So this girl even confessed that he brought out all of these things, including a gun, that he was going to finish her and nobody will ever see a trace of her. So by chance or by luck, this girl managed to escape and jump off Mr. Andrews' balcony. That led her to have an injury that she has. This injury, she has gotten it to this day, and which still makes her remember the nightmare or the horrible ordeal he passed through in the hands of. According to her, she said when she survived it, she went to the police station, and the police in turn requested that she paid a huge amount of money, because according to the police, he wanted to extort a rich man. So nobody believed her story. So she contacted some bloggers, according to her, to give her story so it could be read out there to save other girls, but she was never taken serious onto the case of. But one girl, there is one Amaka that would have been the one to die in the place of Celine and Afiba, but Amaka saw this lady's video on Facebook and never went. So that was why Mr. Andrew went for Celine and Afiba. And some people do believe that he finally decided to be doing away with his problem, like when he has gotten satisfy his fantasies and see that the girls were barely alive, the only thing he could do, instead of to let them go survive and report him to the police, he was just going to get rid of them and move to the next victim. So according to people, he was just this man with psychopathic tendencies, because that was initially what drove him out of the UK. People are so infuriated, and they are yet to believe why a criminal that is yet to give information where the dead bodies of these young ladies was killed by the police without even extracting a single information from him, or to know if he had other victims. And this case, really, it has so many twists and turns. Like I said, it is just like a horror movie straight out of Nollywood. Just before Mr. Andrew was arrested and taken to the police station, there was a dead body that was discovered around where he lives. The reason why this dead body is connected to him is because there is a curtain that Mr. Andrew has in his house, and this was the curtain that was used to wrap this body. The same curtain that was found, that is on Mr. Andrew's windows, is the same curtain that was used to wrap the body that was found. It had no head. There were some vital organs missing as well. The body is yet to be identified. Nobody knows if it is that of Afiba or Celine or a former victim, because the state of decomposition can't just be told with naked eye. Probably they will have to do a DNA or some kind of dental identification to see who the body actually belongs to. It is unfortunate, but the reality that the families of Celine and Afiba might never get the closure they deserve by knowing what actually happened to their daughters, how their last moments were like in Mr. Andrew's house of horrors, and because the only man that would have given them all of this information mysteriously died in the hands of police. He died under police custody, the same people that were responsible to squeeze out the truth from him. It is so unfortunate, and we pray that the family find the fortitude to bear this loss. No parent should stay alive and see their kids go in such an awful way. Thanks for hanging out with me today. That is it for Crime with Melvis. If you're watching me on Facebook, you'll be watching my channel Sad Reality with Melvis. Until my next video, stay safe, keep your eyes peeled. You might never know what is lurking out there.